this. And I'm just saying, if I go missing after this video comes out, remember what I said. The end of Stranger Things Season 5 did not mean the end to all the endless theories. Oh, no, no, no. Since the end of Season 5, I think we've had Cutgate, Conformity Gate, Divorce Gate, and I think now we have like ChatGPTea Gate or something. I don't know. I can't keep up. But anyways, a lot of these theories spawned from people's general dissatisfaction with the way that the series finale went. Honestly, me included in that. And the frustration felt by many due to the lack of answers, closure, and outright plain confusion as to what the hell happened? Because this really wasn't what we thought it was gonna be, you know? You know, the interesting thing is I remember during the press run, a lot of the actors and the creators constantly saying that they really didn't want this to become a Game of Thrones situation. The thing is, though, I think there is one page that they could have ripped out of the Game of Thrones handbook here, is that once you drop your finale, just go. Leave. Go somewhere else. Like, disappear. What are you still doing here? It's over. Go. Like, go to a cabin in the woods. Go fish. Do some woodworking, crocheting, read a book. Whatever it is that men do to decompress and unplug from the world. I don't know. Do not go off and give a bunch of interviews and put out statements that only just piss people off more and make things worse. That's what the Game of Thrones writers did. I remember. They disappeared. I don't know, they went into witness protection or something, because I still to this day haven't heard from them. So, like, I actually hope they're okay though. It's just a show at the end of the day. Recently, Netflix dropped a documentary that gives us a little look-see into the behind-the-scenes process of the making of our beloved show, titled The Making of Stranger Things Season 5, One Last Adventure. And perhaps, though, this adventure should have never made it out of the group chat, because let me tell you, it's really not the best look for the Duffer Brothers. It's not the worst, although I don't know what the worst would look like if this wasn't the worst, but I'm just saying it's not the worst just to give them a little hope. It's not the worst, but it's certainly not the best. And I don't know if they have agents or managers or something like that, but if I was one of those people, I'd be doing everything within my power to make sure that this shit never saw the light of day.
We went into production without having a finished script for the finale. That was scary.
What? Oh my God. Why would you even admit this on camera? Does Netflix know about this? Oh, Jesus. Okay, look, I understand that writing as you shoot is actually a very common practice in television. However, I will say that in my opinion, I think that that was more of a product of its circumstance. People had to write like 20 plus episodes with only a few months break in between. And in that break, you didn't even know for certain if you were getting picked up or not. And it's not exactly like you'd bothered to write a season with that in mind, and you weren't even getting paid to do it, so why would you even do it? There was just no time. The Duffer Brothers, though, had time, like quite a bit of it. And they certainly were pretty sure that they weren't gonna get canceled. And they only had to write like a few episodes. And to be honest with you, no one asked you to write 2-hour-long episodes. That's on you. We never asked for that. In fact, when you announced that, we were actually pretty shocked. And on top of that, unless I hallucinated this, I do recall the Duffer Brothers from seasons ago pretty much boasting that they had this entire thing sorted out in their head. And so that's where I'm kind of failing to understand the lack of preparation here.
Today's a very interesting day. We are shooting episode 8, which isn't completely written yet, spoiler alert. So we don't even fully know what's going on. Everyone on set is walking around with red script pages.
I've never read a script, and we're just shooting it. I've never done anything like this before.
Here's the thing, I actually would understand if they didn't have all the dialogue sorted out, like all the specifics and stuff like that. I completely get how that can even change on shoot day. But you would think, especially considering the fact that they always talk about how much they have it figured out, that they would at least have the general story beats down, at least enough to give something to their production crew that they can use to actually make the damn show. But no, they didn't have anything sorted out. They didn't have anything to give them up until not even last minute, but like past last minute. Like they needed this shit 5 minutes ago. I don't think Greg in set deck cares about the dialogue. He just wants to know, do you want a giant monster set or not? I don't care if Nancy and Jonathan broke up. I just need to know, do you want the giant gloopy set or not?
I mean, dude, the devil's in the screen direction. We're gonna get a script and it's gonna be like, oh, there's the other like 70% of business that we couldn't account for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing to be cagey about the plot with the fan base, but to be cagey about it to the people who actually need to make these shows happen is just a whole nother level of what the fuck? Can you imagine being just like costumes and you go up to the Duffer Brothers being like, hey, so like for the future scenes, do you, and they go, no, 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 no spoilers. Ooh, you'll find out. Like, how am I going to make the show then? I don't understand. I mean, the other thing that really kind of pisses me off here is when I see how unprepared they were, whilst also thinking about the budget. $500 million. Like, where did that money even go? Where did it go? Did it go in the show? How could you even be this disorganized and properly handle a budget this big responsibly? I don't know. To be honest with you, thinking about it, Netflix was also pretty lax about this whole money thing too, which just kind of screams money laundering. And I'm just saying, if I go missing after this video comes out, remember what I said. To allow a budget for a show that you haven't even seen the scripts for and be like, yeah, go into production. Yeah, we trust you. That level of like laxness is way beyond my own matrix. I don't know. If I fucked with even $400 at my workplace, they would not only fire me, but bury my resume so deep down in the core of the earth that no company would ever see me work again. I would say that the part of this doc that's like the hardest to watch, but also simultaneously kind of the funniest part of it, is how the Duffer Brothers' like blatant irresponsible nature negatively impacts production. And this is also where I sort of push back against the people who say that this is completely normal of television, because the response and general attitude of the crew gives me the impression that this is not only alarmingly abnormal, but also kind of unacceptable. And also, if this is normal, it like really shouldn't be, because the team morale looks so low.
I can't tell from like my branch of government if I need to raise an alarm bell in terms of like the amount of shoot days that I foresee just from that meeting in abstention. You know what I mean?
I think so.
And I don't know if you have enough intel from that to raise an alarm bell. Like I can't get these sets ready in time.
It's funny because you watch all the interviews with cast members and like, you know, they talk about how beautiful and special the experience of filming season 5 was, and I'm sure it was. But then you cut to all these crew members and they all look like they just wanna die. We're making sets for scenes that don't even exist.
We're gonna have to rely on VFX more than I wanted to. Like, and what's really heartbreaking is that we all saw tests for months that looked more likely.
It looks just like auto.
So at one point in this doc, instead of giving the scripts, the Duffer Brothers held this meeting with the production team to provide this very vague visual pitch that they expect the team to take and use to build these elaborate sets and VFX designs and props.
Basically what we're like this stuff we're imagining is like them splitting up. There's the two teams and they're splitting up.
Yeah, so they stop the abyss from coming down, and so it's like the needle is pierced through. The problem is, as we get later, we see that bottom side of the abyss that we're not seeing. It's like all these roots and stuff beneath the dirt, and it's just like all these, it's like really membrane.
So the challenge...
This is how you know that this production really had the best of the best. Only the best of the best could pull off what they did with what they had.
We tried to not go too crazy. And inevitably it's going to change as we keep writing it.
All right. Wow. Thank you, guys.
Have you ever seen someone so done with another person's crap? Wow. Thank you, guys. I think I'm particularly sensitive to this because I know what it's like to have my job hinge on somebody else doing their job, and how frustrating it is because you ultimately want to do your best job, but there's somebody out there just sabotaging it and it's pissing you off.
We're not going to get a final script in time for you to do this, so we're going to have to base it on conversations with them.
That's it, yeah. We're just going to have to figure it out.
And it has to be great. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, these brothers have the nerve to make excuses to these crew members as well. If there is one scene I would have requested to be taken out of this documentary, it actually is this one. If I was like, I think that's Matt Duffer, if I was him, I'd be like, if I have one veto, just this scene, because it's kind of embarrassing.
It's not like we don't know the ending. It's like it's all plotted out. I just have to have to write it, and we're just like
Not right
low
now.
on
We will
time.
eventually.
I used to be like 7 days a week, blah blah blah, and I can't do it anymore with I have 2 kids now, and it's like,
Yeah.
do you guys have kids?
Yeah,
They're 40. Yeah, but you remember? Do you remember? I mean,
I mean,
Two
I was
and-
working when they were young, and I mean,
You know, we can't see his face in the shot, right? But I just feel like the guy that he's talking to is probably thinking, I mean, yeah, I remember working when they were young, but I also remember doing my job, or else I'd get fired. And I also didn't get paid millions of dollars for my pain and suffering. So actually, really, it's not the same. But sure, if you want us to say it's the same, sure. These men do not seem at all sympathetic to Matt Duffer's cause, nor do they even need to be. They just need the damn scripts. So here's what I think the biggest problem was for the Duffers. I just feel like they are not inherently writers. They are directors at heart. They even say it in this documentary.
The longer it goes, the more stories you have to type, the more character arcs you have to type, the more expectations they are with the audience, and how do you meet those expectations but surprise the audience still? So close.
Ross and I had no interest in writing at all.
Hey, this director knows exactly what they're doing.
We wanted to direct.
We realized that the best way in was probably writing.
They only started writing to give them an inroad into doing what they actually loved, which is directing. And, you know, you can also just kind of sense it. Because I feel like every time we go back to them in the writing process, they just don't look like they're having a fun time. But if you look at them on set and filming and stuff, they look like they're enjoying that way, way more. And this doesn't immediately make them bad writers. But I think that's why they were able to write a really good season 1. But then things really just started to falter and the cracks started to show when the level of writing demanded of them started to increase. Like, yeah, I can make a bitchin' batch of cupcakes, but if you ask me to make a 3-tier fully decorated wedding cake, that is when things do start to get a little janky. In this documentary, they go on to say that because of this very overwhelming writing process, they decided to delegate the directing responsibilities to take that weight off. But honestly, I feel like that might be where they made their biggest mistake. No one ever really has much to say about their directing, but it's always their writing that gets a little wabi-sabi. But you know what I think happened is that they got a bit too precious with it and didn't want to give up control of their baby. Why even force yourself to do something you don't even like? Because like if you don't like to do something, it is harder to do it and it does generally take longer. When I don't want to do something, I am pretty good at procrastinating. All of a sudden, my bathroom needs bleach cleaning, the couch needs reupholstering, and all my pants, they need to be rehemmed. But actually the insane thing is that this documentary highlights one particular individual who could have actually taken the reins on the writing, and I will always wonder what his version of season 5 could have looked like.
There have to be some monsters in the abyss.
I agree.
There has to be Demogorgon, bat, dog, like something. It's crazy if there's nothing there, I think.
Yeah, I guess like I maybe wonder about demo fatigue at the...
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Jesus. You know, if it's the budget, just say it's the budget, but don't blame us, okay? I mean, how could it be the budget, though? What an insane... Can you imagine if, like, the writers of Walking Dead were like, well, what if people have, like, zombie fatigue? Ooh, that writer would get laughed out of the damn room. Zombie fatigue? Ha! Do you even know what show we're on? Get out! I am genuinely curious as to where they got this idea from. Honestly, what kind of Stranger Things fan would actually agree with that? Paul Dicta. Dicta.
In English, Dichter, or in German, Dichter.
The man, the myth, the legend. The more that I look into him, the more I'm like, why didn't he just write the whole season? Oh my God. Maybe he was busy doing something else, but it is just such a shame. So this guy was a writer on the show from season 1 to season 3, and then he went on to write only 1 episode each for season 4 and 5. But he didn't write no regular schmegular episodes. He wrote arguably 2 of the most iconic episodes from season 4 and season 5, Dear Billy and The Sorcerer. Okay, so as I was editing, I realized, yeah, obviously he didn't write those by himself. Also written by Caitlin Schneiderhan. Schneiderhan. Oh, dude, these names, man.
Schneiderhan.
She was also involved in the writing of those scripts. Go, baby, go, baby, go. I mean, is it a coincidence that the same duo was responsible for those 2 iconic episodes? I think, oh, Jesus, God, Caitlin and Paul. The writing duo we needed. You know, throughout this documentary, you do even start to wonder whether the Duffer Brothers have ever even watched their own show before. But there are moments in this doc where you see actors actually correcting the scripts.
I have a question about these scenes. It hasn't been talked about very much in any of the scenes that we've all been in together. No one knows that we're dating. Yeah. Including Caleb. Yeah. And, and I would like to play this scene in a whisper.
Yeah.
I would like to do this.
Yeah, fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
You have Jamie Campbell Bowers talking to, I think it's Matt Duffer again, talking to him and explaining this epiphany that he had the other night about Henry's backstory and motivation.
And he's living in the same house. It's almost like it becomes this perfect vision of what he wanted it to be, what it never was. It makes it so human.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And and I had no friends. No one but Patty was nice to me.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great way. I love that.
Why is Matt Duffer just standing there like he's never seen the show before? And he's just like, oh, wow. Oh, I like that. Oh, that sounds like a really good show. Yeah. Wow. Shouldn't it be you telling him this stuff about his character? What is happening? It really does feel like the Duffer Brothers just are so sick of even talking about Stranger Things. Jamie Campbell Bowers is literally directing himself. Isn't this the kind of discussion that you should have with your actor before? So that they have time to prepare? Not when the guy is already fully vecna'd up and ready to go. It feels like they got so lazy at the end. Even when I think about how Henry's story wrapped up, I always thought that there was more to Henry's character, Vecna as a whole. Will is like, oh, you were just a kid like me. Oh, you were forced into this, but yada yada, there's more to this. And then Henry's just like, nah, dude, I'm just evil. Oh, well, fuck me then. While we're here talking about the writing, oh my God, there's this scene where they talk about 11. It pissed me off so much.
Which is why I think 11, I know we all talked about the trauma that she's experienced, and I think that you have to be able to move on from that.
Like I always thought that she kind of represents
Yeah.
magic, and so she has to leave.
Yeah.
She has to be gone in order for them to move on.
Like the door to Narnia closes for you, and then some other kids are gonna find another door to Narnia later, but you're never going back.
Yeah.
You never lose this piece of you, but you have to grow.
What? I don't want to be the one to tell you because it is your show, but no, sir, that is incorrect. 11 is not just like a magic creature. She is a real human person. She is the character who experiences like the most abuse and trauma on the show. And for what? For us to not see her find her place in the world and be accepted? But she was just like a fun little toy to give the boys a little adventure in their childhood. Ew, that's actually so gross. If you really wanted to go down that road, you should have just had 11 like come from a different dimension as like a true alien. But then, still have her go through the journey of becoming human and finding her place and being accepted by these people. And then at the end, then she can go. It makes more sense that way. You know what? You know who did it perfectly? How to Train Your Dragon 3. I will stand on business and say that is honestly one of the best trilogies of all time. Spoiler alert, basically at the end of the trilogy, the dragons go back to their world because the humans realize that, we're not ready for their purity, and hopefully one day we will be. But, it was very timely because you look around at the world now and we're like, it's so sad because like we truly are not ready for dragons still to this day. When will we be ready for dragons? They could have gone down that road with 11 where like maybe she goes back to her dimension because our world would only exploit someone like her.
Starting with season 1, 11 was so vulnerable and scared, and she didn't know what love was. She didn't know friendships. In season 5, she has many friendships and many loves, and kind of learning the foundation of how to be a human within 5 seasons has been, the biggest growth of all.
My God. The ChatGPTea scandal that came out of this documentary. So apparently at some point in the documentary, I did not clock this the first time I watched it, nor the second time. Just kidding, I didn't watch a second time. But apparently at some point, you see a shot of the Duffer Brothers screens and you can see a ChatGPT logo on one of their tabs. I don't know, my thoughts on that, like, I don't know if that confirms anything. And also though, like, I don't know what ChatGPT everyone else is using, but my one? Girl, she cannot write a script. So right now I'm doing a bit of interior decorating in my home, trying to change things up a little bit. So I'll take a picture of a part of my room, put it into ChatGPT and just say like, hey girl, do you mind just changing the wallpaper a little bit, making it a little bit plainer, something lighter, you know, something that'll brighten up the room. But like, just keep it simple, yeah? Not only will my ChatGPT plaster this crazy sunflower pattern all over my walls, but she will change the windows, the curtains, the ceilings, and the floors.
All right. Wow. Thank you, guys.
I'll tell you what, though, this documentary, even though it makes the Duffer Brothers look very, very suspicious, it makes the production crew for this show look looking fantastic. They are the true heroes of this operation. You do start to realize that for all the praise that the Duffer Brothers get for creating this show, it really would not exist without the help of the top people in their field, who put in the countless hours needed to make this show not just possible, but like the best it can possibly be. You know, it's interesting. Had the final season been received differently, I definitely think that this documentary wouldn't be getting the negativity that it's been getting. In fact, I think that the narrative probably would have come across more as like a against all odds situation, you know, against all odds, the Duffer Brothers managed to make it work. However, because of the final product that we got, this documentary does sort of rub people the wrong way. And I would say that it's not because of the ending itself. At the end of the day, that's the Duffer Brothers' choice, and we just have to take it, to be honest with you. But people had a lot of issues with the general quality of the season. The season was marred by plot holes, story imbalances, pacing issues, and like general inconsistencies in the rules of this world, and things felt rushed, and certain things didn't feel like they got, you know, the time that they needed. And then it sucks to watch this documentary and realize that all of those production issues so clearly affected the final product. But it also felt completely avoidable, which is what kind of hurts the most, doesn't it? I actually think this documentary was a big missed opportunity to not focus on the actually interesting part of it. I actually think the more beneficial and interesting story to tell would have been to focus more on the actual production side of things. Like the crew. This whole documentary is basically 2 hours of the Duffer Brothers complaining about how hard this whole situation is, whilst also simultaneously being the problem. I have no doubt that making a show like this is super stressful, and I really do not envy their position at all, but I don't know, it feels like you built your own house of cards, and now you're getting mad at us because it's all falling apart. You're the one to make the house out of paper. But I would have found it more fascinating to see how these people actually got it all done.
I think the show and working on the show is an acquired taste. It's not a typical television show, and it's an insane amount of work. But it attracts people who want to be working at the highest level.
Of course, it would be so fascinating to see how these people, the top people in their field, how they work, how they do what they do, how they manage to get this show done against all odds. I would have loved to see more of that because, God, 2 hours of the Duffer Brothers, it just gets old.